I slept with Joshua for 4 years. Lincoln's thighs were as perfect as a human being's could be. These are actual quotes found by the New York Times from Abraham Lincoln and his law firm partner. Miss O'Connor, wait, I swear this is my presentation. Please don't call the office. I'm not talking about SEX. I'm talking about queer history. In fact, according to a 2019 study conducted by the Trevor Project, a whopping 63% of students say they've never learned about queer history in school. And fellow APUSH students, I know what you must be thinking. Sadie, we know you're a genius, but why should we listen to you on this topic? You clearly haven't noticed my nose piercing or my statement blazer. Now that I've come out to you, let's explore why queer history has been so hidden, how this has detrimental effects on the development of queer students, and how we can stop sweeping this side of history under the rug, because history must include the whole story. One of the main reasons teachers hesitate to talk about queer history in school is because they view talking about queer people as effectively talking about sex in the classroom, something our beloved Miss O'Connor would definitely take issue with. We were all there for that vaping assembly, right? I know you were, Brandon. Court mandated. Bethany Leonardi, teacher and co-founder of charity A Queer Endeavor, explains the root of this fear perfectly. Teachers worry that lessons will be inappropriate or focused on sex, but people aren't inappropriate. It's possible to talk about the many ways LGBTQ people have made history without getting into their sex lives any more than one would when discussing straight people in history. Now, I know I didn't exactly give the perfect example of this with my Abraham Lincoln quotes, but there's a way to acknowledge these sides of historical figures, and it can even help students understand them more. After all, that's why Lincoln's hat was so big. It's full of secrets. However, it might not always be up to the teachers to include history in their curriculum. According to Olivia Waxham of Time magazine, laws in 6 states ban the promotion of homosexual lifestyles, and laws geared towards sex ed classes can further deter LGBTQ history efforts. One of these states, unsurprisingly, is Alabama, who banned the live-action Beauty and the Beast because of an openly gay candle. That was the romantic arc you took issue with? She had Stockholm Syndrome with Bigfoot. We need to create open classrooms for students from all walks of life, and one of the easiest ways to do so is to not treat them as an uncomfortable topic. The lack of history taught in schools has drastic effects on queer students. And let me tell you, that's a lot of students. UCLA's law school in 2018 reported that there are 2.5 million queer students in the US, explaining the 31.5 million streams of Rain on Me. That's 2.5 million students whose identity is being deemed controversial or treated as if they didn't exist until now. It's nothing short of devastating. A lack of education means a lack of representation, leaving queer students to be overlooked and ostracized. It's easy to become hopeless if you are being treated as if your community, and by extension you, don't matter. Additionally, the government organization Stop Bullying found in 2019 that LGBTQ students are twice as likely to experience bullying. And not much is stopping this from happening. Bullies are being shown in our curriculum that being queer doesn't exist, encouraging them to take homophobia from their home lives to school. In case you didn't notice, Brandon, I'm subtweeting you, Mr. No Homo. Overcompensating. Underrepresentation in bullying can do a serious psychological harm to queer students. In fact, the Journal of Adolescent Health found that from 2015 to 2018, 24% of suicide deaths in young teens were among LGBT youth. This is tragic and grossly disproportionate. It's closely tied to the fact that queer students are often given the daunting task of coming out to an unwelcoming home. So gifting them with an accepting environment can make all the difference when queer people, time and time again, are being forced to face hostility solely for how they identify themselves. These open doors don't only need to belong to Miss O'Connor's classroom, which you sit in every day at lunch until she tells you,
Giving me adoption papers is inappropriate. I'm not your mom. I'm not speaking from personal experience, of course. Underrepresentation in hostile classrooms and classmates can do a serious number on queer students. However, progress is simple. For such a deep-rooted and daunting issue, there luckily is a clear and obvious solution. We must incorporate queer history into our curriculum. Representing all sexual and gender identities in our classes can help loosen the tight grip homophobia has on our school system and our society at large. In fact, according to that same 2019 study conducted by the Trevor Project, queer students in schools with queer inclusive curriculums were 22% less likely to feel unsafe because of their sexual orientation and 15% based off of their gender expression. The importance of this finding is monumental. Even I know that's a huge difference, and I suck at math. Pythagorean theorem? Never heard of her. By simply including figures like Marsha P. Johnson, a Black trans woman who literally threw the first brick at Stonewall, or Alan Turing, inventor of the modern day computer and breaker of Nazi Germany's code, we can create open classrooms for students who are disproportionately at risk. Teacher Deb Fowler affirmed this sentiment in a 2019 The Guardian article when speaking about her student Muhammad's experience when a close friend came out to him. Muhammad said to me that because of what he had learned in our class, he was able to understand his friend better, and that they became even closer afterwards. That's what this is about, creating closer connections between friends and safer schools and communities. This experience doesn't have to be unique to Muhammad. Straight and cis students everywhere will be able to understand their queer classmates better. Maybe we can even help Brandon. Just kidding, we shouldn't play God. This improvement can even help some queer students embrace their queerness and live a more fulfilling, free life. And literally, all you have to do is talk about how maybe Honest Abe was honestly like super gay. Is that so hard? Now that we've worked through the causes of this historical revisionism, the impact that it has on students, and what steps to take to foster more empathetic school communities, I hope our school and others can create a more accepting environments for students. Because after all, in the immortal words of the incomparable Fat Amy from Pitch Perfect, let's be honest, Susan Gilbert and Emily Dickinson were not just roommates. Let's open some chapters in our history textbooks, and let's stop hiding queer history from students. Because love is love, representation matters, and knowledge is power.